Before you go any further, look below and click the subscribe button. Hi, everyone. This is Melissa Ambers with Savvy Business Podcast. And we are coming to you again with someone I found on social media. That is normally what I do is I stalk people, find out what they're doing, and invite them on the show. And today we have Josh, and I found him on Instagram. He is, I would say, a guru. He's posting, he's putting out information on how to post, how to get things out there. So we're going to talk a lot about that as much as we can and try to get some information to help a lot of us, build up not only just our following, because, I've said it before, it's not about the likes and followers, it's more so on your engagement. So it's making sure that the likes and followers you are gaining is the right audience for you, and that they are going to actually engage with your content and not just clicking a button just to say, add me to your number. So, Josh, thank you so much for coming in and joining us today.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So where are you calling in from?
So I am based here in New Zealand,
Oh,
small wee
wow.
town at the top of the South Island. Lots of beautiful beaches. Yeah, good spot.
Wow. 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 Well, there's building Houston from what you just said. I'm already imagining a difference in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about how you got into, Instagram and becoming the go-to person for a social media platform.
Yeah, so I started out on Instagram about 8 years ago, and I started an account just for a bit of fun, to be honest. It was like almost like a vision board style Instagram. Like it was just
Mm-hmm.
cool quotes that I liked, cool cars, cool messages that I enjoyed. And I posted that stuff for sort of a month. And then I was like trying to grow it and was, trying a few things out. There
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really YouTube videos and blogs about how to grow on Instagram back then, because this would have been 2015, relatively new. And I reached out to a guy and just asked if he could, post one of my images like on his account to help me grow. And he's like, yeah, sure, but it'll be like $50. And I was like, hang on a minute, you're like, people are paying you to mention their Instagram username in a caption.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? Like I'd never heard of influencer marketing or any of
Uh-huh.
that, because it was all relatively new,
Yeah.
especially here in New Zealand. I feel like we're a few years sort of behind usually on compared to America with that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point on, I was just fascinated that this guy had this business. He'd built up an account and he was getting paid. And so I spent the next few years just building up theme pages based around like travel or motivational quotes or
Mm-hmm.
fashion, fitness, like all these different pages. Spent like, yeah, 3 years growing a lot of those and just really learning the ins and outs. And then after that, I started working with clients. So that would have been back in 2018. Started working with clients, helping them pretty much do the same thing, grow their audience, generate more customers. And
Mm-hmm.
in the past couple of years, I have also started sharing a lot of what I know through YouTube and Instagram as well. We found me, and yeah, I guess that brings us to where we are at today. So I have one sort of big motivational quotes account that I don't run myself personally, but that I own. That's about 800,000 followers, and then teach people how to grow an audience on social media and get paid for it.
Wow. So let's start with well, I won't say basics, but let's start kind of in the beginning. We hear a lot of people that say they have a fan page, you have a business page, personal page. And a lot of people think fan pages are for celebrities or if you're this big time of influencer. Can you explain what a fan page is and why someone should have a fan page?
So, I mean, fan pages, I guess, is just like depends. Some people define them differently, but I guess it's a growth strategy. It's not something that I've done a lot of. Um, I've more done like theme pages, so it might be like a page based around a certain theme, like it might be based around travel, and then you're curating a lot of the best travel content, posting it to build an audience. And so you can have that as like a second account to your business. Like if you run a travel agency, for example, you might be limited in what you can post because you're just posting stuff that you've created that your business owns. You could have a second page, which is like curating the best travel. So you're finding other people's content, posting it and giving them credit. And you can grow that a lot faster because you've got access to way more content. And then you can funnel those people back to your business. And I guess fan pages are relatively similar. Like you're doing a similar thing, except it's probably using your own content as well.
Okay. Now there have been, I'm not a social media guru, but I am there. And I've been seeing a lot of posts and videos about specifically Instagram is changing the way the algorithm works. Can you explain a little bit about that and what that is?
Yeah. So a lot of the time, a lot of the algorithm changes is usually to do with like what type of content people are more interested in. So like in the past, images were all there was on Instagram, and then they've brought in the likes of carousels where you can post like 10 images at once. And so they got a bit of a boost in the algorithm because it kept people on the platform for longer. If you posted one image, someone might scroll in their feed, they might read the caption, look at the image, give it a like. That might be 3 or 4 seconds. But all of a sudden, a carousel came along and people might take 20 seconds to swipe through your 10 images. And so the algorithm is just going to push whatever keeps people on the platform longer. And so nowadays, it's Reels is obviously getting a big push in the algorithm because if someone watches your reel and it's a 6-7 second long reel and they watch it a couple of times, they're spending a lot more time on the platform. And then Instagram can run more ads to those people. And there are a lot of little things in the algorithm, but the main thing, like if you want to get pushed by the algorithm, is just create content that keeps people on the platform longer, create content that captivates people, create it so that they want to keep watching it. And usually you do that through understanding like who you're trying to reach and bringing them a ton of value. So if you're trying to, reach business owners to help them with their marketing, like how can you create something that's going to be useful to those business owners that they're going to enjoy? So they read your whole caption, or so they watch your whole reel, or they swipe all the way through your carousel. And then Instagram sees these people spending all of this time on your content and they're like, people love this stuff. Let's show it to more people like that to keep more people on the platform. And then Instagram can run more ads to them and that helps their profit as well.
Okay. Do you think with that, what you just said, like keeping people on that platform and either repeat watching it, sharing with others, that is the way that you should look at your posts instead of the hashtags or what's this new thing, topics, I believe that Instagram have now, and not so much as the hashtags. So do you think that should be more so your focus instead of the hashtags or topics?
Who you surround yourself with really does matter. The people you associate with and spend time with have a huge impact on who you become and what you do in your life. Hi, my name is Jeff Hagee, and I want to tell you about my Inner Circle Mastermind group. This is a group that's designed to surround you with like-minded high achievers who will help you to think bigger and amplify the performance of your business and your life while tearing down all the barriers that are holding you back. A mastermind is the fastest way to get you to the next level. If you're ready to network and connect with other successful entrepreneurs and influencers, go to coachhagee.com/mastermind.
Yeah, I would put more focus on the content itself. The hashtags and the topics do help because you do want to categorize like what your content is about so Instagram can show it to the right people. But if you put all your time into your hashtags and the underlying piece of content isn't that interesting, if Instagram show it to your dream customer and then they don't watch it, they're just going to stop showing it to new people. Whereas if you do an okay job of hashtags, like they're all right, but it might not be perfect, but the content you create is really, really useful, then it's going to do well. It's the same as like in business where if the product is amazing, if the marketing's okay, some people are going to buy it, they're going to love it, they're going to come back, they're going to buy it again. It's a similar sort of thing.
Okay. So let's get into this new thing. Was it a Chat GPT?
Yep.
What is it and why is it blowing up right now?
So it is an AI tool, and whilst I'm not probably the biggest expert in AI or all of that stuff, it's almost like a virtual assistant that's got access to all of the information on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
um, and can scroll through it in seconds. I don't know the details of how it all works, but it's a great tool that you can use to help with your content. So some people are going as far to get it to write whole blog articles just by saying, like, write me a blog article about, how to grow a vegetable in my garden. And, like, they get a massive article. Personally, I'm using it to create content ideas. So you can go to Chat GPT and just put in, like, hey, I create content about how to get better at tennis, and I'm a coach,
Mm-hmm.
give me 20 ideas for pieces of content I can create, and it'll go through and give you a ton of ideas. You can then go and expand on them. A lot of people will take those ideas and they'll get the Chat GPT to write a whole post about it. Personally, I don't really like that, because I think with your content, you should have a bit of your own personal touch, your personal voice, and your own mythology, because otherwise, or methodology, because otherwise you just sort of sound the same as everyone. If everyone's using the same AI to create the same content, just gets a bit boring. If you have your own flair, your own style, your own mistakes even in it, like, it's more real, it's more you, and people can relate to that more.
Okay. With having that, I mean, like I said, some people are using that to write their content or blogs. In like I said, putting your own touch in there, it seemed like you would kind of be a little shaky about it because of accuracy and making sure that, specifically, yes, it may be giving you a lot of things on the message that you're trying to put out there, but is it really hitting on what you want it to hit on, before you put it out there? So, is it worth the time? Now you got to go reread it and edit it, or, it's kind of,
Exactly.
it's probably gonna be an individual preference, but how can I truly depend on this based on going to Google, doing a search and doing research that way?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I like it for, like, coming up with content ideas, because the content ideas it gives you is pretty awesome. I think the other issue with using it to properly write your posts is it doesn't cite where the information comes from. So it's really hard to go through and, like, back up what you're talking about. If you write a big blog post, especially on a topic that might be controversial, like it might be about marketing, you might want to bring in specific stats, or it might be about health, and you want to reference certain things. It becomes really hard to do that, to give credit where credit's due, bring that in. So I mean, I'm sure that will get fixed with time. I'm sure that with the next iteration of it, there'll be better there. But yeah, I think it's a good tool to use to help you, but not to do everything.
Okay. What is some myths about Instagram that you have been seeing that people are either doing or they think it's just, the golden path to Instagram?
One of them is, and this has probably been around for a while, is what's known as engagement groups. So some people will jump into engagement groups, which is essentially where you've got a bunch of people. Sometimes it might be a group of 10 people. Sometimes it might be 100. Sometimes it might be 1,000. And the idea is, whenever you post, you send your post to this group, everyone goes and likes it. And then all of this extra engagement sort of tricks Instagram, because they see it and they're like, this person gets 100 likes per post usually. And then all of a sudden, this new post has got like 200 likes in 10 minutes. And so Instagram think it's great and they push it out there. That's like the idea of them. And in the past, they worked when Instagram's algorithm was pretty new, but now they can sort of figure it out, and they know that you're using like a third party to get all of this engagement, and it just doesn't really work anymore. So that's probably a big myth. And even if it did work, you get all of that engagement, but then that becomes the benchmark. And then all of a sudden you need that just to get like your average reach. And if the content itself
Do you want to be known as the subject matter expert in your industry? Scan the QR code today to take advantage of the $200 discount for a brand assessment. The assessment will give you a summary of how your brand can step up a notch to get noticed. We have been seen in various platforms and have gained credibility and are known as the subject matter expert for digital media and branding. Sign up today for a brand assessment and a one-on-one consultation with me, Melissa Ambers. Don't get left behind. It's time for your brand to stand out.
Isn't any better than usual, it's not going to get shown on Instagram anyway. I think you're better off just to focus. Comes back to that original point. You're better off to focus on how can you create really engaging stuff that helps people you're trying to reach. And if you do a good job of that, the little hacks around the side are irrelevant.
Okay. What about these content calendar schedulers that, so many will refer to, and they find them, all over the place, of how you should or shouldn't post on social media platforms. Some of them are very close and some are, gapped apart, but I think every industry is different and the audience you're trying to reach is different. So you really can't use that as, the go-to when you're scheduling. How should a person, look at their industry, their audience, and understand how they should post on a platform? How many times have you gone store to store looking for the perfect party accessories and could never find that perfect design? So you had to settle for what you could find. Look no further. Party Elements has the perfect party decor for any occasion. From cupcake toppers, candy buffet themes, plate settings with the option of custom plates, wine glasses, custom pins, greeting cards, and so much more. Get your custom or ready-made party accessories for any occasion from Party Elements. At Party Elements, entertaining has never been so stylish. Reach out to Party Elements at partyelements.net or Etsy at Party Elements by SD.
I think you're spot on there. I think, like you say, content calendars are good, but industries are different and the type of account is different. Mm-hmm. I mean, what you can do is you can either try and find someone who's sharing specific knowledge for your niche. So you might be like a guru or an expert who's specifically sharing knowledge for salon owners or for, a certain type of fitness coaches or this business or that business. You might be able to find an expert in your specific industry who's giving out good advice. Mm-hmm. The other thing you can do is just do a bit of research on your competitors who are doing well and look at how often they're posting, what types of the content are they posting, what topics are they talking about, and it'll give you a really good idea to what you can create content about, how often you want to post, and so on. And then you can almost build your own content calendar, because those sort of systems, like, posting 3 times a week, for example, maybe that's your system. You post 3 times a week. You talk about these things, you write all that down. That'll definitely help you be consistent and create great stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like you say, you want to get it right and you want to do a bit of research ahead of time.
What can you tell us that we don't know about Instagram?
What you don't know, I mean, I feel like I've talked about the importance of great content, which is probably a big part of Instagram. The other thing that I think a lot of people don't know is the importance of optimizing your bio and your profile, how it looks, so that you can convert profile visitors into followers. And this is quite a big thing that a lot of people don't look at, because if your bio and all of that is not set up to speak to the people you're trying to reach, you might be converting 5% of profile visitors into followers. So if 100 people a day check out your profile, you're gaining 5 followers. if you make a few tweaks just so you're, speaking to these people clearly, maybe it means having a nice profile photo, having a clear username, making it clear in your bio, like who your content's for or what your business is about. If you make some of those changes, you can easily bump this number up to 20, 25%. And so all of a sudden you're growing 5 times as fast, which is like a massive difference from something that takes 5 minutes one time and is going to help you forever. So that's probably a big thing that people don't think about or don't do, is simply taking that time to optimize and make sure it looks good, their profile.
Okay. With on Instagram, well, I'll just say social media platforms, and specifically like TikTok, when a lot of times you post, and actually I do this as well. When you post on TikTok, you put whatever video information tags or whatever you're going to put on it. And with TikTok, it shares it directly into Instagram. Do you think that is a good or a bad thing, or does it matter either way?
If I'm serious about growing a platform, I prefer post it individually. If it's like a platform where I'm like, I don't really care, but might as well have the piece of content, then that sort of stuff is good. So a lot of the time we'll do that with Facebook. Like if you post on Instagram, you can have it go directly to Facebook. I don't really care about Facebook personally, like for my strategy.
No,
so,
I don't.
Yeah, so I'll link Facebook and say like, hey, any content here, maybe it gets a couple of extra views. There's no extra effort.
Yeah.
But for something else, so like YouTube Shorts, if I post a reel on Instagram, I'll post it separately to YouTube Shorts instead of trying to get it all linked up, just so I can, maybe have a slightly different title, slightly different description that's better optimized for YouTube.
Okay. Now, what about monetization on these platforms? Would that still go back to, like I said, optimizing your bio, making sure you take a little extra time to get that where it needs to be? And then maybe connecting with some of the these companies with products or services?
Yeah, so it depends on, all of that is important and you need to get right, like optimizing the bio. And it probably depends a lot on what your account's all about. Like if you're an influencer or if you're a business owner, like you're going to monetize a little bit differently. But it all sort of stems back to like, how can you create something that is going to be of value to the people who follow you? So if you're a business owner, this is pretty straightforward. It's going to be, whatever your product is, whatever your business is, you're going to, offer those products and services. If you're an influencer or a creator, you sort of have to figure out like, why do people follow me? What do they follow me for? Maybe you post tutorials about something. Maybe it's tutorials about how to edit videos. And so you want to create some sort of product or service or partner up with a product or service that helps people with that. So maybe it's a video editing course that you put together to show people how to do that. Or maybe it's a service, but usually the better the offer is, the more you can make from it. The better you understand your audience and what problems they have, and then try and solve them the best way you can with your paid products. That's going to be how you're going to monetize the best. Okay.
For people that's, out there, they're, doing these, various product, let's go with t-shirts. Okay. Everybody's doing t-shirts. And some are doing maybe skincare and makeup, but they're not actually tied to a brand. It's kind of like, okay, let me put it out there, show that I can do this, or this is how I do mine, hoping someone would jump on board and say, you know what, hey, I like the way this person is doing this. Let's bring them on to my brand to, do this product or whatever. What about those people that's on there doing that and they're not getting touched by a brand? What are they doing wrong and how can they correct it?
So like an influencer that's launched their own t-shirts, but they want to get picked up by a bigger brand to promote them.
Right.
In the first place, personally, I don't like I don't like launching your own t-shirts or something like that, because unless you're really good, unless you're super fashionable and you understand the industry really, really well, then it's probably not going to be a great product, and people will maybe buy it because they really like you. But when you're in that situation, you're sort of always going to be battling a little bit because your product's like below what there is in the industry. If you want to get brands to partner with you, I mean, the best way to do it is just going to be through building out that genuine audience, through building your audience through content, reaching out to them, and maybe just trying to get your foot in the door and see if you can do an affiliate partnership to start with. And then you rack up a few sales where you promote them and earn a commission. And then all of a sudden they might start looking to send you clothes and so on. Although I don't have as much experience in sort of that like clothing, makeup sort of physical products. So it's not my biggest, best experience, best expertise, but hopefully that helps people.
Okay. So how can someone, why would someone reach out to you, and how beneficial would it be to, if someone wants to, build up their audience, build up their followers and everything with the content, what would be the thing for them to look at to say, you know what, let me reach out to Josh because he can help me do XYZ?
Yeah. So, I mean, we mostly work with anyone sort of educational wise business. So they might be a coach, they might be a consultant, they might be an agency owner business, and we'll just help them smash it with content. We'll just help them create the right topics, the right content, get it all into a system to then help them produce the best stuff to then grow their audience and generate new customers. So if that's if that fits, someone listening, then they're welcome to reach out on Instagram. It's probably the best place. It's just my name, Josh Ryan, and we'll have a chat, see if we can help them, and if not, send them in the right direction to someone else potentially.
Okay. Are you Josh Ryan on all of your platforms?
Yes, I've managed to secure that. Well, Instagram and YouTube is Josh Ryan. I think on LinkedIn it's like Josh Ryan NZ for New Zealand. Same on Twitter, but Instagram and YouTube are the main two that I use anyway. Okay,
cool. So thank you for having this conversation with us about Instagram. And, so many people, they're looking for different things, and technology is changing every day. So, I'm glad that I was able to connect with you and bring you on to, to talk about this. And hopefully, everyone that's looking at this, you gather something from it and reach out to Josh. I did. And, I got him on the show. So, look at what you're doing, optimize your profile. And, follow Josh, look at his videos. He has some really great videos out there, and that can help you get started with some of these things. So make sure you follow Josh and share this with everybody, because everybody's on Instagram. So thanks again, Josh, for joining us on the show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Melissa. It's been a good chat, and hopefully people got something out of it.
Absolutely. Follow us on our Instagram at Savvy Mag Biz, and on our YouTube channel, Savvy the Business Podcast. Thank you for joining us on Savvy the Business Podcast. If you want to be a guest, send an email to media@savvymag.biz. That's media@savvymag.biz. Don't miss out on the opportunity to be heard by millions.